Hi, I'm Ray Dudley, your Delaware County Sheriff. These are just a few of the brave men and women of Delaware County Sheriff's Office who put their life on the line every day, serving you and protecting you. Please join us in the upcoming season of Delaware County Sheriff's Show.
Here we are at the 2018 Living Proof Mock Cries event, and this event is designed to try to make young drivers especially, but all drivers, aware of the consequences of drinking and driving, driving while impaired, texting and driving, distracted driving, and the serious consequence that can come with that. It doesn't just affect the drunk driver, the impaired driver. It has an effect on a wide range of people, and it's like a pebble dropped into a pond. It just spreads and spreads. It can affect an entire community. So we try to make these scenes as real as they possibly can be. We have a crash scene, we have a party scene where the people that are involved in the crash scene have had some alcoholic beverages and then decided to go out and drive, and they had gone into, had a crash, and we've got real fire department volunteers, EMS, and police departments from various departments responding to the crash scene, and they go through the process of making an arrest for the drunk driver, and we have injured people that are transported by the ambulance. And another scene is the emergency room scene where the ambulance takes our victim of the crash that's injured to the emergency room, and you get to see how that works and how they get treatment. And then we have a jail booking scene where our drunk driver gets booked into jail, and that's a good surprise for people that have never had that experience and don't know what it involves. And then, of course, in our crash, we have a fatality. So then we have a coroner notification scene where we have a real deputy coroner that goes to the victim's parents and breaks the news to them that their child has been killed in a crash and is not coming home. And that's terrible news that any parent has to receive. So it's very, very impactful. It really gets to people, and that's what it should do. Then we go to a funeral scene. Our victim that was killed, we have a funeral scene, and we have a real chaplain that does the service. And then from the funeral scene, we go to the courtroom scene, and there's where we get to see that the drunk driver is found guilty and is sentenced to 10 years in prison because he killed somebody while he was driving drunk. He's 18 years of age. He goes to prison, and so he gets sentenced. We have a real judge in the courtroom scene, a real prosecutor, deputy prosecutor, and we have real defense attorneys, and we have real bailiffs that are working the courtroom scene. From the courtroom scene, the defendant's sentenced to 10 years in prison. We go to a parole scene. We fast forward 5 years. And he's coming up for early release after being in prison for 5 years. And the parole board decides not to grant him early release because they don't believe he's accepted responsibility for what he's done. He makes excuses, and it's everybody else's fault and not his fault. So he's denied early release, so he's going to have to stay for another 5 years. And that really upsets him. And that is a very impactful scene also, because it shows that here's a young man that's wasted a big portion of his early life because of bad choices. And that's what this is about. You make choices, some are good, some are bad, but you make bad choices, and there's consequences for them. And sometimes the consequences are not good. This entire event is being able to be possible through volunteers. No one is paid. All of the people that are here are volunteers. All the police officers, EMT, firemen, the judges, the prosecutors, everyone's a volunteer. And because some of these scenes are so realistic and have such an impact, we have counselors from the Ball State Counseling that have made themselves available if one of these scenes really gets to someone and they feel like they need to talk to a counselor and help talk through, because we've had people come through that the coroner notification scene really hit them hard, then they go to a funeral scene and that really hit them hard, and they need to talk to somebody and try to get these feelings out because it stirred up memories that are very painful.
Looking for him, and then so one of you guys go obviously with him, the other one just start checking the cars and checking on the other occupants and stuff.
You want to run through it real quick, Doug? You'll come out of the car, come over. You got an idea what you're doing yet?
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but just kind of wait.
Just come right over here.
Yeah, we got some time, so we're waiting on Lifeline to get here.
There it is.
Well, I was asked to help out with the makeup here at Living Proof. This is my third or fourth year. But yeah, they just wanted to make a little more graphic stuff, so you know, we kind of actually have a little bit of fun with it. So, but yeah, I hope our makeup helps get the message across. You know, take it serious about drunk driving, and you know, this is what happens. You know, so. That's what we do. You know, we started doing it, and it's interesting because I think people take it serious. You know, we've had people kind of get sick about it, nauseated, not squeamish, not wanting to look at it, and even talk to some of the counselors inside. So you know, that's why we're really doing it, to get the message across, make it as realistic as possible.
All right, we're here at the 2018 Delaware County Prevention Council's mock crash reenactment. They do this every year around the prom season. The Sheriff's Office is happy to be part of this, something that we've supported for several years now. We have deputies working several scenes throughout the crash reenactment. Not only the crash scene, there's a courtroom scene, there's a parole scene, and then we have the gym set up with several tables, several different agencies. And the Delaware County Sheriff's Office is one of the agencies in there. We have drunk goggles in at the table for the students to try on. They're set at different percentages of alcohol consumption, so they can see if they're on the low end, the middle, or if they're extremely high. The goggles, there's 3 different sets to show different types of impairment.
Delaware County Prevention Council has been around for over 20 years. We help put on this program along with WLBC and all of the local agencies, the police departments, the EMTs, and the fire departments. So we're proud to be part of this organization, and we are proud to put on Living Proof throughout Delaware County to spread the word of drug and alcohol free.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Ray Dudley. This is a program that we've had now for about 15 years. The Sheriff's Department feels really good about participating in this program. It's a good program to help kids realize and see the truth behind drinking and driving, or drinking as a whole. So it shows every aspect from the actual crash involving somebody who's been drinking and driving, notifying the loved ones about their loved ones being deceased, all the way up to having a court appearance and going in front of a real judge. So we have real people from the community that actually come out and participate in these 2 days and help out. We have officers not only helping out as far as the crash scene and the other aspects here, but we also have officers that meet and greet all the kids and the parents as they come into the gym and talk to them about the real life situations about drinking and driving.
You're about to witness the senior spring formal where you're about to announce the king and queen. Senior football quarterback Brian Drum and his girlfriend Claire haven't shown up to the dance yet, and their friends are a little worried. because Brian said he was going to stop by his older brother's house to drink alcohol before showing up at the dance. Now let's go inside and look at the spring formal. When we go in, if you'll line up on this wall and on the left side as well, please.
I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't worried about nada. I'm sitting pretty impatient, but I know you gotta put in the hours. I'ma make it harder. I'm sending pick up Depiction. I'ma get you fired. I know you're always on the night shift, but I can't stand these.
I can't believe this is our senior spring formal. It seems like just yesterday we were freshmen. I know, I can't believe we're about to graduate.
Has anyone seen Sarah? She's supposed to be here on time, and she helps plan this formal.
Yeah, she's not here yet. I saw a picture she posted on Instagram with Nathan, Hannah, Kobe, and Sabrina, and she said they were all heading this way soon.
I also haven't seen Brian and Claire. I know they are coming together tonight too. Rumor has it they're going to be crowned king and queen.
Yeah, Brian and Claire are going to be a little late. He texted me and said his brother hooked him up with some alcohol, so they were going to drink before they came. He invited me to come, but I told him no because I knew my parents would be so mad if they found out I was drinking before a school dance.
All right, senior class of 2018. It's time to announce your king and queen for this spring formal. Everyone gather around. All right, your 2018 spring formal king and queen is Brian and Claire. Brian, Claire, are they here yet?
They're on their way. They should be here soon.
All right, well, when they arrive, we'll crown them king and queen. But for now, let's turn the music back up.
I'm getting a little worried about Sarah. She's not here yet and she's always on time.
Yeah, I just texted Brian and Claire, and both of their phones went straight to voicemail. Hopefully everything's fine and they're on their way.
Check on her real quick. Take the door cleaned up. Hey. Woo! How much you drink, bud?
A lot.
A lot? Are you hurt?
No.
Okay. All right. Stand still for me. Stand still for me. Okay? All right. Just let me look at your eyes real quick, okay? Can you stand up?
Yeah.
All right. Look up here for me. Look up here for me. All right. Stand up. We'll get her. We'll get her. Just look up here for me. Focus on the tip of that pin for me, okay? Keep your head still. We're going to go back and forth here, okay? Back and forth. Back and forth. Alright. Okay, you can't even. Turn around. No. Stop. Stop. Right now. Calm down. Calm down. Ready to log 1 in custody for OWI.
You'll be alright, Claire! I'll be back! Get down!
Calm down.
Last time I was walking, Oh my God! Ow!
That's just insane.
So what do you think of that?
I don't know, it kind of makes me want to cry.
That's scary. It kind of got me a little bit, I won't lie. It's good. It's good though. Like, yeah, the makeup is good. That's wow.
Driver has been arrested at the scene. His girlfriend Claire has been rushed to the ER trauma unit with critical injuries. You're about to witness what happens to her. Please take a seat and begin as soon as the paramedics arrive at the hospital.
Emergency department, this is Hannah. Can I help you? Do you know the exact rate of speed? Okay. Any airbag deployment? All right. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Dr. Cookshauser, we have a 17-year-old female on the way in, high rate of speed at MVA, positive loss of consciousness, currently hypotensive 70/40 with a heart rate of 130. Do you want to activate a trauma 1 with that?
Yes, and can we get 3 units of uncrossed match blood in the
Yes.
trauma room?
Do you want to activate the massive, or do you want just the uncrossed match?
Let's wait until we see her.
Okay.
How you feeling? Doing all right? Full hospital medics will be on the island. Patient report. Oh, sorry. Are you having any trouble breathing?
No.
No? Full hospital. This is medics will be on the island with patient report. Okay, we're gonna take another blood pressure. 17-year-old female in a single auto accident. 40 miles an hour, restrained at this time. Final set for you is 110/62, set at 99% of room air at this time. Pulse of 116. You should be approximately 5 minutes out from your location unless you request anything further. Alright, sweetheart, I'm going to listen to your lungs here real quick, okay? Just breathe in and out here for me. Nice deep breath in. Next set of vitals, 110/60, 100% on room air. Let's go ahead. 98 and 100. Everyone's coming out. Female in a single auto accident. She did have a little bit to drink tonight. Vitals for you guys, 126/90. Pulse of about 58. Respirators about 18, sound about 100% of room air. Pain's about a 9 out of 10 in the right arm.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's get her weighed.
That's bad.
Hi, sweetheart. No problem with the medics. You're going to have to take care of you today, okay?
Sir, this is Dr. Cookshausen. We're going to talk with you a little bit, okay? Continue talking with us, all right? You can get her hooked up to the hospital.
Yep, working on the monitor.
What do you need, Jess?
I got my line. I need some tubes for some blood.
Breath sounds on both sides. Airways intact at this point in time. Get the ultrasound. You got her on the monitor yet?
Do what?
Bob's in the process.
Working on the monitor.
Where's everything hurt?
Ultrasound's ready right behind you.
Your belly hurt at all? Large amount of fluid in the belly on ultrasound.
Alright, call CT.
Got vital signs, Bob?
Looking good, getting the pressure.
Alright.
Can we go ahead and give her some blood?
100%. She's tachycardic, let's start the blood. Yes. Large amount of fluid in the belly. Chest's okay.
Still 100%.
Is that actually on? There we go.
Over 77, let's go to CT.
Moving on the way.
Check pulse.
Got no pulses, Bob. We're gonna have to start CPR.
How do you got a crash card open?
Open and ready.
Alright, I need you to use drugs for me when we get there.
Place her on the pads too.
Let's go in fluid.
30 seconds till pulse check.
Okay.
Alright, pulse check. I got a pulse.
Pulse back.
I got a pulse.
Get a pressure. Got a pressure on her, Bob?
Cycle it.
Yep.
18 over 71. Alright, everybody ready? Let's go. CT.
In the previous scene, you witnessed the EMTs rush the severely injured Claire to the hospital trauma unit. The trauma physicians and nurses work skillfully to save her life. While this is going on at the hospital, back at the crash scene, the drunk driver has failed his sobriety test and has been taken to the Delaware County Jail for processing. Listen in while Brian is being admitted to the Delaware County Jail.
All right, I got a few questions for you. What's your date of birth?
March 10th, 2000.
Last name?
Drum.
First name?
Brian.
Have you consumed any illegal drugs or alcohol today?
Yes.
Which?
Alcohol. I didn't drink that much. You gotta understand, it was just being stupid.
Was it beer or alcohol? Or?
Yeah, beer.
Are you on prescribed medication?
No.
Are you diabetic?
No.
Are you suicidal?
No.
You can step on in here with me. I'll pat you down. Pat down for you.
I don't have anything. There's no reason for you to do this.
I have to do this. It's part of my job. Safety everywhere. All right. Spread your legs a little bit for me. I'm going to take your cuffs off. Just put your hands on the counter. All right, keep your head, step out of your shoes for me. Just need to take one sock at a time. I got to see the bottom of your foot. Look at your toes. All right. Just lay it up on the counter. All right, you come with me. Got some questions to ask you? I'll get you booked in.
Are you going to withdraw from any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Physical handicaps?
No.
Any medical problems we should know about?
No.
Any problems with your family?
No.
Health or legal problems?
No.
Mental institution?
No.
Claustrophobic?
No.
Have you ever attempted to contemplate suicide?
No.
Are you now?
No.
Do you want an emergency contact?
Yes.
What's the last name?
Drum.
Alright, I need to get your photo and your fingerprints to finish your booking. Then you're allowed to make a phone call. Step over here for me. Red square here on the floor, over here. Yep. Just turn around. White cameras on the wall up there. Okay, turn to the left for me. You have any tattoos?
No, sir.
Okay. Alright, you're good. We're done here. You guys get your fingerprints. Step straight into this room for me. Alright, I need to get your fingerprints. If you'll step over here. Step over here. Alright, your left hand.
What's Claire like? How's she doing?
I haven't heard anything from the hospital. Alright, got you printed. You can step out here. They can get you a phone pen. You can make a phone call.
Okay, Brian, right now you've been charged with OWI.
OWI?
OWI.
I didn't even have that much. This doesn't make any sense.
I know, it may not make any sense right now, but those are your charges, okay? OWI. Any alcohol in your system, it's OWI when you drive. You have a bond.
I didn't even have that much.
You have a bond of $5,000. Okay?
Okay.
So, your parents had called once and we didn't have all.
How's Claire? Do you know how Claire's doing?
Okay, Brian, I'm gonna let you talk to your parents and see what they're gonna do, but I need you to sit down for a minute. I know we think that we don't have a lot to drink, and unfortunately, somebody didn't make it.
Was it Claire? Don't let it be Claire. Was it?
I'm not for sure of her condition yet, Brian, but there were several people involved here, okay? Only thing I can do right now is let you talk to your parents. Don't worry, I'm gonna call them. Okay, Brian, come here. Now I'm gonna let you do this here. You're gonna give me the number, and then I'm gonna let you talk to your parents, all right?
Okay. Mom, there was a crash. I had a little bit too much to drink, but promise me, just come here and pick it. It's not that big of a deal. There was a crash, and someone died, and Claire's hurt. She's in the hospital. Do you know how Claire is? Just don't. Don't know.
Okay, Brian, this here's where you're gonna be for a few hours. Like I said, you're gonna have to stay because of your alcohol level.
No.
Yeah, you can't sit out here. You're gonna have to sit in here for just a little while, okay? I'm sure your parents are gonna take care of bond and all this, but for right now, only thing I can say is have a seat there and just relax. Try and relax. Try and relax. Try and relax.
I didn't even have
So please come around here to be able to look at the door. I'm Deputy Coroner Jim Hyatt. I'm a certified death investigator with the Delaware County Coroner's Office. I have been in that position for quite a few years, I don't tell that to you to impress you. I tell you that because I know what I'm talking about when I talk about death investigation. How many of you have heard me speak at previous Living Proof? One. Okay. Do you remember what I told you our responsibility was as coroners?
Tell the family about the death.
That is one of the most important. The other two important things, that's the legal part, is that we need to determine the cause and manner of death. Not who's responsible, but the cause and manner of death. And the state allows us to choose between 5 different categories of manner of death: suicide, accidental, homicide, pending. Does any of those, if you were going to think about this out here, how would you classify that? As a homicide, suicide, accident? Anybody? You'd like to think it was a homicide, wouldn't you? But in the state of Indiana, that's classified as an accident. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be penalties to pay for the persons or the persons involved with creating it, but as far as the state is concerned, that is an accident. I'm getting ready to show you a depiction of the coroner's notification of family. And before I do that, you probably remember this, so I'm sorry about boring you, but I talk about a moment about how society will gloss over death notifications. You see it on TV with "sorry for your loss, ma'am," something like that, and it goes on to the rest of the story. But today's mass media has everyone basically calloused to death, and the resulting issues that happen with the families afterwards. One of my favorite actors, Keanu Reeves, was in a show called John Wick. And within about 2 minutes, he killed 25 people. There's video games with high-end graphics anymore. Mortal Kombat, Black Ops, Medal of Honor. All of these are callousing our society to death. And what happens to families like this is on the other side of death's door. As I get ready to knock on this door, the people inside have no idea what's coming until I mention I'm a coroner. And if they know what a coroner does, it's going to register with them. When it registers with them, I create actually an issue, a medical condition that's called acute stress syndrome in them. Basically, they're not going to remember a thing I say for the next half hour or so. In fact, I'm going to have to stay with them for a period of time and let them till they understand what I'm saying happened to, in this case, their daughter, Sarah. I always share this one instance where I went to a house to make notification, introduced myself, and the minute I said coroner, the wife retreated to the kitchen, got under the kitchen table, put her hands over her ears, and I could not talk to her until we were able to get her pastor from her church to come and draw her out so I could tell her what happened to her son. It is a devastating effect on the family, and you're getting ready to see an example of that here. Before I do that, I want you to know that in Delaware County, since January, there's been 38 cases, coroner's cases, of which notification, like you're getting ready to see, in some form or another has happened. 4 of those cases involved alcohol. Of those 4 cases, the lowest amount of blood alcohol concentration was 0.16. Does anybody remember what the legal amount is, by any chance? 0.08. So the lowest amount was twice that, and the highest amount was 0.44. You can imagine how that would be. 38 cases. You're getting ready to see an enactment of how some of those 38 cases might have happened. I'm getting ready to create a situation, a medical situation in this family. This knock on the door is a knock that no parent, no family member ever wants to get from a coroner. Usually I take a uniformed officer with me, and I do that basically for my own protection, because a lot of times they take it out on the messenger, and it is safer for me to have a uniformed officer with me when I do this. As I get ready to knock on this door, I'm going to look at you, and if something happened to you tonight, young lady, on your way home, whose door would I be knocking on now, or then to tell them about you? Your parents. About you, sir. Who would I be talking to? Grandma? Sir? Who would I be talking to?
My dad.
Your dad. So keep that in mind as I'm knocking on this door, that if I was getting ready to talk to your dad, or a mother, or a grandmother, if this was the result that you may get. Come in closer. A lot of times we'll hear chatter on the other side of the door, and sometimes I have to be persistent.
Are you the pizza dude?
Pizza? No, I'm afraid not, miss. Keep your money. Are your parents home, miss?
Yes. Yeah.
Miss Sir?
Yes.
My name is Jim Hyatt. I'm with the Delaware County Coroner's
Dad,
Office.
Is
No,
Mr.
well, you're not supposed to be here.
Is Mr.
You're not supposed to be here.
Is Mr.
You're not supposed to be here.
Yes,
Call
I need to
Sarah.
talk to
Make sure
Mr.
Sarah's okay.
Sir.
Make sure
Mr.
she went to that party.
My
Make
name
sure
is
she
Jim
made
Hyatt.
it there
I'm with the
okay.
Delaware
He's not
County
supposed to
Coroner's-
be here.
Ma'am.
What's going on?
No, he's not supposed to be here.
Calling.
Hurry, get her on the phone.
Calling. Ma'am.
Get her on the phone.
That's Sarah's phone.
Ma'am. This is Sarah's phone. I have
What
some
are you doing with
bad
Sarah's
news I need
phone?
to share with you.
Thanks for coming out tonight. The scene you're getting ready to witness now is the funeral for Sarah. She's the young girl who was killed in the crash. I think you just went to her coroner's notification of her family. So now her family is getting ready to lay her to rest at the funeral. She was a high school student. She was killed by the drunk driver, a person who thought it was okay to drink and then get behind the wheel of the car. So her life's been snuffed out, and now you can witness her funeral. So just go on up and either have a seat or stand quietly during the proceedings.
Thank you for coming, taking time out of your busy schedule to pay your respects to Sarah this evening. On behalf of her family, I thank you for this. If I were honest with you, we shouldn't have to be here this evening. Sarah shouldn't have had to die. But somebody thought that they needed to party. But, I mean, what does that mean to you? Let me tell you what it's going to mean over the next few days. Tomorrow at school, the bell rings and people come in, and when math class starts, there'll be an empty chair. Health class starts, there'll be an empty chair. Band, there'll be an empty chair. Not just there. Let's say Thanksgiving dinner is getting prepared and they're setting the places, and all of a sudden they look around and there's an empty chair for Sarah. Same way with Christmas, birthdays. And it's not fair. It's not fair. When we were children growing up, you remember kindergarten, remember first grade, elementary school, they were trying to teach us little young'uns not to run out in traffic. And we were taught to stop, look and listen. So, you're at a party, and all of a sudden somebody breaks out the drink, somebody breaks out beer. Here, have a beer. No, no thank you. Oh, come on, you big wuss, have a beer. Stop! Look around you. You want to be like this bunch? Listen to him. Listen to the fellow speaking that he's already had a few too many, and he's going to go get in his car and maybe go out and kill somebody. But it's his right to drink, and he's going to do it. It's not fair. I had a dear friend of mine that we buried Saturday. He was just on his way home from a scout meeting, and an impaired driver hit him. That's not fair. It's not fair! So, guess what? When you leave here, it could happen to any one of you. But let me take you one step further. Could you live with yourself if you were the one that caused the empty chair? You think about that. Let's pray. Our Father and our God, we pray that you would make everything that we've seen and heard tonight be etched into our minds and help us to remember. In Jesus' name. Amen. Go with God.
We are at the court scene. You've witnessed the crash. You've attended the funeral of Sarah, who was killed, the innocent victim. You've seen how that's affected her friends and family. And now you're about to witness the other side of this. In the courtroom sits the defendant, Brian, who caused all of this. And you're going to see his parents sitting in there. They're about to witness what's going to happen to their child. I need you to go in there quietly. There's some seats. And we're going to witness what's going to happen at the court. Okay? Let me make sure they're ready.
All rise! Central Circuit Court's now in session. Honorable Linda Rayleigh Wolf presiding.
Thank you. You may be seated. This case is entitled State of Indiana versus Brian Allen Drum. The State of Indiana is represented by Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Steve Sneed, and he's seated over here to your right. And then the defendant appears in person and with his attorney, Josh Brown, and they're seated here at the other counsel table. Mr. Sneed, why are we in court today?
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant intends to plead guilty. However, there is no agreement as to sentencing, Your Honor.
Mr. Drum, the court will swear you in before you testify. So raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm, under the penalties of perjury, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Sneed, you may question Mr. Drum.
Your Honor, thank you. Please state your name and age for the record.
Brian Allen Drum. I am 18 years of age.
I want to direct your attention back to May 19th of 2018. Did you consume alcoholic beverages on that day at your older brother's house, located at 1115 North Elm Street, here in Muncie, Indiana, before driving to the school spring formal?
Yes, I did.
How much alcohol did you consume?
I really don't remember how much I drank, but I know I drank a lot of beer.
But you're not old enough to purchase alcohol on your own. So who provided you with the alcohol?
It was my older brother.
Did you leave your brother's house after drinking and you drove somewhere else?
Yes. My girlfriend Claire and I, we went to my older brother's house to drink before the dance. And then after we drank, we headed to the spring formal.
What happened next?
There was a crash.
Were you impaired at the time of the crash because of your consumption of alcohol?
Yes, I was.
Because you're impaired driving and causing the crash, one person was killed and another person was severely injured. Is that correct?
Yes. It is my fault that someone was hurt and someone died.
Your Honor, no further questions to establish the factual basis in this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Sneed. The court has listened to the testimony of Mr. Drum, and at this time the court accepts his guilty pleas. Therefore, the court now finds that Brian Allen Drum is guilty of count 1, operating a vehicle while intoxicated resulting in death, a level 5 felony, and also the court finds him guilty of counts 2 and 3, each of them operating a vehicle while intoxicated resulting in serious bodily injury. Both of those are level 6 felonies. Now the court is ready to proceed to sentencing. So, Mr. Sneed, what is the request of the State of Indiana?
Due to the severity of the charges and the death of one innocent person, The state is requesting that the court sentence the defendant to a maximum sentence on each count. The state would also request that the defendant be sentenced consecutive on each count to each other. Your Honor, the state will also be charging the defendant's brother. He is just as responsible.
Thank you, Mr. Sneed. Mr. Drum, now the court turns to you. What would you like to say before the court sentences you?
I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did. It was an accident. It really was. I really never meant to hurt anybody. I was part of the student council. I was an honor student. I was the quarterback for the varsity football team. Your Honor, I just got a scholarship to attend Ball State this fall. If I go to prison, it will ruin everything. So please, Your Honor, don't send me to prison. Please, it will ruin everything I've ever wanted to have in my life.
Thank you, Mr. Drum. Mr. Brown, what are your comments on behalf of your client, Mr. Drum?
Yes, Judge. Thank you. We feel like probation and house arrest is most appropriate in this case, Judge. My client has no prior criminal record. He's active in his school extracurricular activities. Probation and house arrest would permit him to still continue to work toward his future goals. Thank you.
Thank you. The court has considered the evidence that's been presented to it today. The court also has listened very carefully to the comments of both legal counsel. Also, the court has read many letters from the victim's family and friends who are concerned about this case as well. The court has really considered the serious nature of the crimes committed by Mr. Drum. And after considering all of this, the court is ready to impose sentence. So on count 1, the court sentences the defendant, Brian Allen Drum, to 6 years for the Indiana Department of Correction executed. And then on counts 2 and 3, on each of them, the court sentences him to 2.5 years to the Indiana Department of Correction to be served consecutively to the sentence in count 1. Correction to serve his time in one of the prison facilities. So this is the order of the court.
All rise.
Boy, we tried you better than that. You've disappointed your mom.
Board hearing. A man named Brian has served 5 years in prison and is now up for parole, and in this scene you will see what happens at his parole board hearing. If you want to follow me in.
Mr. Drum, from your file we see that you've been in prison for 5 years now. What have you done to better yourself since you've been inside?
I mean, I've got my GED, I go to AA meetings all the time, and I go to counseling at least 3 times a week.
But can you tell this board why we should grant you an early release?
Because what I did wasn't my fault. I mean, I was young and dumb, and we had a couple of drinks, but it wasn't my fault. I've served enough time.
Does anyone here today have anything they'd like to say?
I'm Sarah's mom. 5 years ago, Sarah was enjoying her last few weeks of high school. She was ready for college. She had started packing. She was so full of life. She was ready. She enjoyed everything that she was doing. She was just going to the spring formal. She was coming home. You took that from me. You took that from us. Do you understand what you did? She deserves so much more, and you took it.
I also have something to say. I'm Claire. I was Brian's date in the car the night of the crash. My life completely changed that night. I didn't want to go to Brian's brother's house the night of the spring formal, and he knew that. But we still went. I saw how much he drank that night, and I wish I never would have gotten in that car with him. I'm now paralyzed from the waist down and have this scar on my face. Brian's decision to drive drunk that night not only took the life of a classmate, paralyzed myself, but also impacted so many others. It's clear that he has changed since that night, and not in a good way. He doesn't even seem considerate or apologetic anymore. We all deserve better.
Mr. Drum, after reviewing the file and listening to yourself, as well as those present here today, this board finds that you are still not taking responsibility for the events that happened that night, when you injured people, including your girlfriend, and killed another young person, all because of a bad decision that you made to drive drunk. Therefore, your request for an early release is denied.
It's wrong. You guys know I'm not wrong. I've served my time. It's wasting my life.
We would like to thank the following underwriters for their support in producing this show. Put your business up for everyone to see. Hometown Outdoor Advertising, 288-9000. Pizza King, good to the very edge. Several Muncie locations. Parson Mortuary Incorporated, 801 West Adams Street, 747-1100. Muncie Sanitary District since 1965. 300 North High Street, 747-4863. Northwest Towing and Recovering Incorporated, 2 locations to serve you. $2,900 MLK Boulevard in Anderson, Indiana, 1625 East 60th. Broadway Motors Incorporated. $2775 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard, Muncie, Indiana. Victor's Gyros and Pancake House, 700 South Tillotson Avenue. Great barbecue, dine-in, drive-through, or carry-out. Victor's has world-class gyros, and for your dining pleasure, you can have breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Victor's. 288-1777.